after a destruction at the hands of the Grizzlies in Game 5. Klay Thompson arrives on his bicycle for Game 6 and a chance to close it out. Klay's averaging more than 27 in Game 6s since Game 6. No Ja, which is a bummer, and Klay, you know the story, you know the injuries, you know all the work that he's put in to get back. 3 of 3 from beyond the arc, 11 first quarter points. Dillon Brooks has had a rough series. He was tremendous in this one, and he was aggressively hunting his shots as the Grizzlies build a lead. Brooks, no foul call there, and he gets called for a flagrant one as he full-on shoves Curry. Thompson talking to Brooks there. Been a lot of talk in this series, a lot of chatter, as we know, back and forth. Game's tied at 55. Klay, corner 3. That's pure. Warriors up 3. Then it's Thompson. You got to worry about him just going ahead and pulling. That allows him to get to the rim. Now it's Brooks, Jaren Jackson getting a little chatty with one another. Grizzlies timeout. Jordan Poole and Brooks. Now it's Jaren Jackson. We good? Just play ball, fellas. All right, we will. What a shooter Desmond Bane is. He hits the 3. Next possession, it's Curry. Trying to get to that spot just inside the free throw lane. He hits it. Warriors up 1 after 3. In the 4th, Brooks, step back. That's cash money. He had 30 on the night. Grizzlies lead. Golden State leads. Bane, he said it, best shooter in the world. He said, Steph's better than me, and other than that, you're going to have to prove it to me. After some really poor sets that Tim Legler wants to talk about, Golden State settles down, runs a really nice half-court set. They get a 3 from Wiggins. This was the key stretch. After that 3, the ball bounces off Brooks' foot. Wiggins gets the dunk. Now Steph, they can do this to you, man, in the blink of an eye. You go from up 1 to down a bit. 8-0 run, they weren't done. Looney feeds Draymond. He had 14, 16 rebounds, 8 assists. Off the miss, one of Looney's 22 rebounds, 11 were offensive. 7-point game, make it 10. It's Steph again, the all-time leading three-point shooter in the history of the game. Off the miss, who else? Looney, he gathers. Again, I said earlier, Klay didn't need it. I don't know what Klay needs. He knows what he needs. He needs to shoot that 3 and hit it. Now Steph, step back as the shot clock hits zeros. And the clock hits midnight for this talented Memphis team. Such a bummer not to have Ja involved because of the injury. But the Warriors, it's been such an amazing run for them. They've been kind of everything, right? They were the champs. They were the team that wore the bullseye. Then they were in a play-in game, and now here they are for the 6th time in 8 years in a conference final. They made 5 straight finals before missing the postseason each of the previous 2 years. Every one of these teams made multiple finals. The Warriors are looking to join the Bulls as the only team to make the finals in 6 of those years. On the other end of it, Taylor Jenkins, his team was the 2 seed. They had a hell of a year, and it's come to an end.
Well, first off, congrats to the Warriors. I know Steve's not here tonight, but congrats to Steve, Mike Brown, coaching staff, the players. What a heck of a series. Great competitiveness for 6 games. I'm going to tip my cap to them. Heck of a team. They tested us. They made us better. They made me better. A heck of a series, but congrats to those guys. And I just told our group how proud I am of them. I've never been a part of a group like this, how special they are. That's the players, that's the coaches, that's staff. This obviously stings. Such a special season with a special group. And I want them to cherish that and remember that despite this loss and the end of our season right now, how this is going to motivate us moving forward. The growth individually, the growth collectively from this season. It's only going to make us better. This is a step in the direction of this bright future that we talk about all the time. As disappointing as it is, I had to remind them of everyone's commitment every single day. not the work just in the games, but the works in the off season, the work in the preseason, non-game days. And at the end of the day, what it comes down to is the care factor. I mean, I've never been a part of a group, collection of players and staff that have had this level of care for many years now. I mean, but this is a third season here, and this group earned everything they got. Just wasn't good enough in the end. That's basketball. But I'm just beyond proud of everyone's commitment and care to making this such a special season, and that I also know that this is going to motivate them to continue having that care factor moving forward, to continue to build 1 year at a time, to hopefully bring a championship to Memphis.
That guy impresses me every time he speaks, man. I just give me more of that. They're just getting started, and no one wants any attaboys at this point. But clearly that team is not done. They're just getting going, and he's a big part of the reason why. Tim Legler's here. I love to take people out there watching inside our process. We're talking about what we're going to talk about here. And there's a stretch where you're like, man, what are the Warriors doing? They're playing like the basketball's on fire. You're a little concerned. And then in that 2-minute stretch, man, they erased a lot of issues. So, yes, they move on, but do you find yourself still saying, there are things that I want them to button up as well? Yeah,
you see me take a lot of notes during the game. I always have multiple agendas going at the same time, just in case this thing takes a turn.
Right, if this, then that.
And there was a time, and I thought that their impatience offensively, almost like each of them wanted to end the series with one shot. You can't do that against a team like that. It snowballs the other direction. However, to their credit, the approach that prevailed was the approach that we've seen for the last 8 years. When they move the basketball and they get multiple touches and multiple ball reversals with all these weapons, this is what it looks like. Dribble drive, kick out, up fake, draw two, one more swing, wide open look, shoulder square. That's beautiful basketball.
Beautiful basketball porn, I would sometimes call it. It's late night TV. It's fun.
Exactly. Again here, kick and slip. Then hit Looney. He could have had a layup. Instead, he takes a dribble, draws a guy, kicks out another shot with your shoulder square, and then one more time. Let's go two-man game, draw a couple defenders, get downhill, bring guys to you, hit the cutter on the baseline, one more drop off to Draymond. Yeah. So here's the good news for the Warriors. When they play this way, they still have enough weapons there, right, to win the whole thing.
Sure.
The question is, will it be like that? Because this has been the toughest grind they've had to get to this point. We saw 6 of these appearances in the last 8 years. This is by far the toughest grind because of everything they've dealt with and the up and down nature of the way that they have played. But yet at the end of the day, here they are. And if they bottle up that, what we just showed in that clip, this team has still got enough talent to win the whole thing.
I do wonder about this, and this is not in any way a knock on Mike Brown. He's been a head coach. He's going to be again. But you're not the head coach, and you're not the guy who's been the head coach, whose voice has been in their ears, who can get on him and ride him to a degree the way Steve Kerr could. His absence, do you think that had anything to do with the fact that there were times that the play was uneven?
What hit me sometimes was I'm hearing Steve Kerr's voice in my head. All those times he's mic'd up over the years, and you see in those moments when they're playing like too fast, impatient, trying to hit the home run every time down the court, he would be the guy, and he could do it in an angry fashion because he's the head coach. Timeout, he's clearly irritated, get in, here's what we need to do. Move it, swing it, reverse it, we'll get that shot the second time around, and if we do that, we're a completely different team. Mike Brown has even said it. I've been focused this entire time on what we do defensively. Well, now he's piloting this thing, and so maybe what he would say might be a little bit different in those huddles, and maybe that's just what the Warriors could have needed possibly these last couple of games to put this team away a little bit easier. Give Memphis credit, man. They fight you tooth and nail, but Golden State's got more talent. They've got more weapons, more shot makers. They just have to not make it easy on the defense by letting multiple guys touch it on the same possession. Then they're still very, very hard to guard.
I was thinking of my man Stuart Scott during that Boston highlight about how great he'd have been on a moment like that. We always used to talk about Stu facts. He would always give you that one on the way out here. 70 rebounds for the Warriors tonight. That's the most in almost 40 years of playoff basketball. Looney had 22. The extra possessions, just stretch them out, get some threes, and that one little chunk good enough to get them to the finals, and here they are again.
Absolutely.
Can they win it?
Seen this movie before.
Can they get to the finals?
They can win the whole thing.
There you go.
If they play that way.
That little stretch.
Yes.
You're really good at this. Just run that back. Run that for your film session. Just push play on Tim Legler. Tim, I appreciate you, man.
You got it.
Fun night. Always is.